peace and negotiation practitioners. And lastly, the enhancement of personal enrichment to be able to deal with community and country conflict. I'm concluding, but just based on the positive feedback received from your predecessors, it is my view that you will find this program to be particularly interesting, rewarding, and of course, personally and professionally enriching. It is my hope that you will have the same experience and will return to your various places of influence with renewed vigor to make a positive and sustainable contribution to the development of your respective communities. I must stress that the success of this program has been made possible by the fact that the department has secured a funding partner, which is the Kingdom of Norway. Again, thank you to Dr. Stian Christensen, the Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy of the Kingdom of Norway, for making this series of programs possible. Furthermore, allow me to thank all our partners, our international and South African presenters, our participants, and the organizers of this program for their efforts, time, as well as everything in making sure that this initiative is possible, but also very successful. Finally, it is my hope that this capacity building program will assist you, this year's participants, in supplementing your existing skills, your approaches, and best practices to utilize in your own communities. Once again, a warm welcome to the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, although we're doing this virtually, but we do hope that you will visit the OR Tambo building in future. We trust that your time with us will be informative, interactive, and very enjoyable. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Monyela. And Ms. Chililo Munjalele has managed to make an alternative arrangement. She's going to be speaking from our colleague Lillian Motibo's office.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chililo Munjalele, the Acting Chief Director for the Diplomatic Academy and International School and the Program Director for today. I would like to apologize for joining the meeting late due to technology challenges. But nevertheless, as Jeanette has indicated, I've managed to make alternative means to still speak to you and join the program. I welcome you all to this program, and in our midst, I would also like to acknowledge the following dignitaries in our midst. Acting DG, Clayson Monyela, Dr. Stian Christensen, Chargé d'Affaires of the Kingdom of Norway to the Republic of South Africa, Ambassador Modlomo, DDG for the Americas and Europe, and Acting DDG for the Diplomatic Academy and International School, Professor Corey Vilenga, Acting Director of the Center for Mediation in Africa of the University of Pretoria. It is my privilege to now hand the floor to Dr. Stian Christensen, Chargé d'Affaires of the Kingdom of Norway of the Republic of South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director Munjalele. Thank you also to Acting Director General Monyela and Ambassador Dlomo for your excellent introductions and your kind words. Recognize also Professor Vilenga, distinguished guests, and of course, a very warm welcome to all our participants from different African countries. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome you as Acting Ambassador of Norway to this important training program. Few topics can be more important than how we can all contribute to conflict resolution, mediation, and peace negotiations. Norway has for years been actively engaged to promote peace and reconciliation in large-scale conflicts around the world, including Colombia, Venezuela, the Philippines, South Sudan, Sudan, and other countries, just to mention a few. Our experience now is that global security climate is in fact regressing, and that conflicts are becoming increasingly complex. We are committed to meet these challenges through multilateralism, broad engagement in peace and reconciliation, as well as through international cooperation. Engagement in peace and reconciliation efforts are a key part of Norwegian foreign policy. Norway works actively to find lasting political solutions to wars and conflicts by facilitating dialogue between parties in conflicts and supporting other actors' conflict resolution efforts. You will, in the second week of the training program, hear from Norwegian practitioners with experience who will share from those concrete experiences. In practice, the work of achieving peace has to be conducted by qualified professionals. This requires a provision of sufficient training in mediation skills with the aim of increasing capacity for solving conflicts. There is a particular need for increased participation and leadership by women in these processes, who are still sadly underrepresented in most processes. This is why we attach the highest importance to our collaboration with the South African Department of International Relations and Cooperation and the Center for Mediation in Africa at the University of Pretoria in organizing this training program. In a recent statement during the open debate of the Security Council on Women, Peace and Security, Norway's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ms. Anniken Huitfeldt, said, and I quote, "While we might disagree on some areas, we all agree that women have a fundamental right to participate in peace and security. Not because women by nature carry some magical solution to end all wars or because we are so much more peaceful than men, but because women carry unique perspectives and experiences in their communities." End quote. This is one of the motives why Norway is committed to increase the number of women taking part in negotiating delegations. The aim is to increase the number of women mediators, to ensure that local women are represented and consulted, and to integrate the gender perspective in peace agreements. There is unfortunately still a long way to go before women participate on equal footing with men. We must, however, not forget that women's participation in mediation is essential for achieving lasting positive peace, which goes well beyond just the silencing of guns. Each one of you here have been chosen because your position in your community matters. Your voice in your community matters. Women in your community matter. It is my hope that you will take this opportunity as a privilege, but always keeping in mind the responsibility that comes with it. It is also pleasing to see the very high quality of the presenters that have been selected for this program and who will share their experience, their knowledge and expertise on this complex subject matter. The Embassy is grateful to Turku and CMA for once again putting together an excellent program like this one, and we thank them for that. And thank you all for listening, and good luck to all of you with the training.
Thank you so much. I will now hand the floor to get the reflections of the program by Professor Corey Villenga from the Center for Mediation in Africa from the University of Pretoria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Acting Chief Director, Ms. Munzelele. Can you all hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so thank you to Ms. Munzelele and the Diplomatic Academy and the International School for hosting this important event. It is really an honor to share a platform this morning with Ambassador Ndlomo and Mr. Monyela from the Department of International Relations and Cooperation and Dr. Christensen from the Royal Norwegian Embassy. We are really excited to be able to continue this partnership between the Center for Mediation in Africa and Turku and the Norwegian Embassy. I'm also very honored to be able to welcome such a prestigious group of women who are in positions of influence across the continent. As has already been mentioned, this training has emerged from a long-standing partnership between our three entities, the Centre for Mediation, the Norwegian Embassy and the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. And as Mr. Monyela and Dr. Christensen have outlined, it unfolds in the context of an awareness globally that women should be involved in high-level mediation or mediation at every level, but continue to be marginalized. Despite the robust policy frameworks at the global, regional, and national levels, implementation remains weak. Although perhaps I must add a note here that there are women who have succeeded in securing positions of leadership in peace processes and political leadership, as many of you are evidence of. Progress has been made, and I think we need to take note of that progress and perhaps pay a little bit more attention to the progress that has been made as well. But I'd like to explore a few reasons in relation to the training program that the Turku Academy has put together for this 2-week period as to why women are often excluded. We often hear cited reasons such as the lack of political will or the prevalence of patriarchy or problems of culture. But one of the reasons for women's exclusion on the continent that is less explored, I would suggest, has to do with the colonial legacy that still has an effect on peace processes today. And I'm thinking of the term one scholar in the field of peace and security studies, Professor Siphamandla Zondi, coined, namely that of decolonial peace. So his argument is that unless we deal with the effect of colonialism on conflict and its resolution, peace processes will never be sustainable. And here he is talking about understanding the root causes of conflict as being related to a country's colonial past, but he's also talking about the ways in which African knowledge systems and African ways of doing things are often sidelined and ignored. In academia, we talk about African epistemologies and ontologies, but basically, African knowledge systems, African ways of doing things. A very tangible way that we see evidence of this is if we look at track 3 or grassroots mediation on the continent. The mediation track that is often given the least attention or resources, but is more and more being seen as perhaps being one of the most effective in bringing about sustainable peace. There are a few things we can note about track 3 mediation. One is that women often dominate track 3 mediation processes. There are a lot of women involved in mediation at this level. Another is that these processes are often deeply embedded in context-relevant interventions. By this, I include the fact that they often reflect what we might call African approaches to mediation. So questions are starting to arise about what we can learn about track 3 mediation on the continent that might translate to track 1 mediation, particularly in terms of the central role that women play. And there are ways in which it reflects African realities, if I can call it that, or African knowledge systems, African ways of doing things, which isn't always the case when it comes to track 1 mediation. That's why it's important that this 2-week training program includes sessions by some of the leading practitioners in mediation on the continent who understand the realities on the ground, including the directors, for example, of the Institute for Global Dialogue, the Centre for Mental Wellness and Leadership, Accord, our former ambassador, Lilian Klapo. These are people who deeply understand the African context. It's also good to have Bijou Togo-Bursch on the program, advisor to the Panel of the Wise and the FemWise Africa Secretariat, who will be speaking about the ways in which women are able to uncover and use traditions in their culture towards building peace. And I think one of the questions we need to be asking is, how do we translate these kinds of let's say, resources that we have on the African context into track 1 mediation? Mr. Andries Oosthuizen will go into further detail about the program, including in relation to the excellent training that will be offered by Ron Tan from the Klingendahl Institute in the Netherlands. And so on that note, let me hand back to the chair so that Mr. Oosthuizen can engage further on the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Vilenga. The program that I have in front of me indicates that we've reached the end of the official opening session. And let me take this opportunity to thank all the speakers for the program. Our acting DG, DDG Monyela, our DDG Ambassador Zomo, Dr. Christensen from the Chargé d'Affaires of the Kingdom of Norway to the Republic of South Africa, and Professor Vilenga from the CMA. Participants, thank you for your audience, and I wish you well for the next 2 weeks. Andresen team, as well as the MSU team, thank you for the good official start for the program, and all the best as you continue to manage and execute the program. After this, we are going to move to the second session, wherein Andres will then provide the program overview and the house rules. The official opening session is now closed. I thank you.
Thank you, Chulilo. The floor is now yours, Andres. Mr. Director Oosthuizen. Your mic is on. We've got your camera, but not your mic.
Sorry, I thought it was one go. It was acting as if it was working. Good morning, colleagues. Good to see so many participants from the continent joining all of us. I know there might be one or two that will still be joining us later. And again, also from our side, apologies for the challenges that we had getting into this program, but I'm happy that my colleagues have been very innovative in getting us all sorted, so that at least we can have this participation, get the week or the 2 weeks rather off to a start. My task is just to introduce the program a little bit, only in a little bit more of detail, because you have received the program itself, and probably you have had time to have a look at it. But let me just echo in summary the sentiments of all of our speakers who engaged us during the opening session. And that is to say that the Diplomatic Academy and the International School is facilitating this program with a hope that it will add to your already repertoire of skills and knowledge that you have as leaders in your specific field where you are. We have found during the past couple of years, 8 years, that the program has facilitated and increased the capacities of our participants, and we are hoping that it will do that once again and that you will benefit from it. But let me start with saying, to emphasize that very point, that and as DDG Monyela has indicated, the success of this program will really depend on your participation and your interaction. So as I go through the various items that we will have, my plea would be already that you make an intentional decision that you will share your experience and your views with the rest of the group. Bearing in mind, obviously, it is a bit of a challenge with the digitization process, meaning that we all sit in front of our computers or whatever equipment you have, that you will use that with the knowledge that it has its disadvantages, but it should not distract from the experience that you have, from the views that you have, and at the very same time we all acknowledge that we don't always necessarily share the same views, but it's good to hear them nevertheless. And when we talk about conflict negotiation, mediation, obviously we understand that there are differences of views, and we will respect those different views, but in a way that we can nevertheless contribute to the program. So the next part of the program, and I'll start with the introduction then of the program itself, is where Ms. Anthea Joubert will take you a little bit through a process of just to get to know one another, sitting all over the world, sitting in different rooms or homes. It's a bit, I think, at least can see the faces and or at least hear one another, knowing that bandwidth and the rest and connection can actually contribute to a little bit of a challenge, but at least so that we can, as Mr. Monyela has said, to put the voice behind the face, or for that matter, the face in front of the voice. Dr. Pilani Mthembu, the Executive Director of the Institute of Global Dialogue, he's been a participant to this program for many years now, and we're very privileged to have him, very interactive, and he will take you at the start of the program to give you a kind of a overview, and so that you can have an understanding of what role citizens could play in preventing and addressing conflicts within societies, and the development of soft skill to touch on that, and options to providing hope address the negative consequences of conflict. Then we have Ms. Charlotte Lawbay, our Chief Operating Officer and Chief Director Transformation Transversal Programs of the department. Also, and I say this from the perspective of experience, not necessarily hand, also with the program, who assisted the Academy quite a bit, for which we're also grateful for. And she'll talk more about women peacekeeping, Security Council Resolution, or rather 1325, and South Africa's framework for gender and mainstreaming. And she'll take you a little bit more onto some practical issues that I know would be of value to you. And then in the afternoon, we have Ms. Nomfundo Mohapi. She's the Chief Executive Officer and founder for Center for Mental Wellness and Leadership. And as you would notice from the program itself, there's a lot being said there. I only want to highlight one or two critical things that I think is critical for all of us. And that is the understanding of your psychological wounds and how it affects your leadership. We're all products of our past, whether it's a brilliant past or whether we had our own challenges getting to the positions that you are. I think Ms. Mohapi really addresses these issues and take it to another level of understanding why this psychological well-being is so important for your leadership and how to address conflict. That will bring us to the end of the program for today. And then for tomorrow, you will have Dr. Vasu Handen from Accord. I trust that some of you are already familiar with Accord, that is present on the continent, is present in South Africa, dealing various conflict situations. And Dr. Howden will talk to you from a position of experience and will give you another perspective on these trends in the post-colonial area and the role of sub-regions and how collectively we could address conflict on the continent. He will take you through the whole morning session. He will also take you through some case study events, and I hope you will again hear from the experience from Dr. Howden. And he has been around quite a bit, and he will share with you his own experiences in terms of COVID and how it affected him personally, but also how it affected the continent and experiences there. Then we have Ambassador Lillian Schlapu, also a former Deputy Director General of the department. He served in Washington, he served in Addis Ababa, he served at the United Nations. So Ambassador Lillian Schlapu is really an experienced diplomat, and that can share his experiences not only as a South African, but as a continentalist, I would argue, and give you an overview of the mistakes perhaps that have been made in the past and how an African architecture on negotiation mediations could be developed. That will take us then to Wednesday, which brings in Mr. Ron Ton from the Klingendale International Institute in The Hague. And the next 3 days then from Wednesday to Friday are the critical, practical approach to negotiations, and we'll analyze the various approaches to it, the concepts, the strategies, and understanding the differences when you are busy with negotiations, to understand the opponent of your, rather the position of your opponent, and so that you can understand the various strategies that you can interact with. My colleagues will take you through the process, but I just want to make this very important sort of house rule announcement already. Please note that the module presented by Ron Ton and the Klingendale Institute will be on another platform. The documentation has been provided, the links have been provided, the meeting code, the passcode, everything. So just please be aware of that, and that there will be a second attendance register involved during the 3 days that Ron will be engaging with you. So it's not that complicated. I just want to alert you to that. And again, Jeanette and my colleagues will take you through that as well. So that will bring you to the end of the first week. And as Mr. Monyala has said, if we had the privilege of hosting you, we would have hosted you a little bit more over the weekend, take you to some interesting places. But unfortunately, this will not be the case. So we'll leave you in the good comfort of your homes and where you are. Hopefully that you'll come back on Monday, the 28th of February, freshly charged to then immediately delve into another 2.5-day, 3-day session with Renee and Jeff. That will also, again, on the practical side, talk to you about the various aspects of and responses to conflict and mediation and negotiation and the definitions of mediation and what pre-mediation and post-mediation and the role in particular of women as mediators and cultural responses in mediation. So they will take you through the first 3 days, as I said, of the second week, and we hope that practical sessions will really build into your knowledge and skill set that you already have, but strengthen that so that you can with more confidence engage in the surroundings and the world that you'll be operating from within your specific environment, whether it's government or non-governmental. Then on Thursday, we will give you an opportunity to share a little bit a better understanding of other international experiences. And here we're grateful for our Norwegian colleagues that will share their experiences, as you will see from the program, specifically in terms of Afghanistan and how they have experienced that and the lessons learned from that. Then we have also a session on Thursday in the afternoon. Our colleagues from the Center for Mediation in Africa, University of Pretoria, will then have a specific focus on mediation and whether there is an African way to mediate. Corey has already alluded to that. She gave you a little bit of an appetite to think about differently and on the continent how one could reflect on that. Then on Friday, when we get to conclude with the program, we will have Mr. Rolf Meyer. Now, for those who are not from South Africa, Mr. Rolf Meyer was a member of the former exclusively white government, the National Party, who was instrumental in drafting South Africa's new constitution with our current president, President Cyril Ramaphosa. And I think you would understand that it's perhaps a bit easier to get somebody that's not in government to come and talk to you than our own president and others that have been involved in CODESA, the Convention for a Democratic South Africa. So Mr. Rolf Meyer will in particular then share with you the South African experience, how we got from where we were, and even if you don't know South Africa's history that well, you would be aware that we had our own challenges, and perhaps still we have some challenges that we are dealing with. But Mr. Rolf Meyer will take you through that whole process and will share with you his experience and his approach that they have taken, and he will share with you the engagement with President Ramaphosa and what were the success stories and what were the critical elements in making sure that negotiation finally lead to a more constructive approach to conflict. And then we'll get to the end of the program. We will have a closing ceremony. And by that, I want to immediately mention to you as well, and again, my colleagues will remind you of that, but I want to put it out immediately as we're entering the program itself, that we would like to have a class representative at the end of this program on Friday to say a few words, to share your views about the program, and that representative could speak on behalf of your class at the end of this 2-week program. The closure of the program is then foreseen is that you will have the opportunity to reflect on the program itself. You will see that there's this on the program before the closing ceremony, actually, that there will be an opportunity from our acting chief director, who is our director for our quality assurance, will give you an opportunity to ISO and SABS standards. So we're very proud of the fact that we're ISO 2015 compliant, and we would like, therefore, to hear from yourself also as to whether the program met your expectations, perhaps share some ideas that you might have that we could benefit from in the future. So just then lastly, that's the program in general. As I said, I didn't want to go in too much detail, but simply then to conclude on the program itself, to repeat what I said at the beginning, the idea is to strengthen your knowledge and your skill sets. So we have an overview of the continent itself, what are the critical things that we need to look at, with our court talking to that, Ambassador Nhlapo, who's been quite active on that, all South Africans that wish to share their experiences with you, and hopefully you can also during those time contribute with your experience and your views, and then a sort of a 2-block practical experience with Klingendale, and then our own South African experts that will share their wisdom and skill sets with you, and then we'll conclude the program at the end on Friday. So in terms of house rules, if I may just plead with you, knowing that we have time differences, and thank you for those who might be affected with those time differences to be on time. We would like during this 2 week to be on time. So could I ask our colleagues all around the globe, but also those in South Africa, that you please be on time, preferably 5 minutes before. If there's any problems with the links, that you can alert Jeanette and my colleagues Anthea and Lillian, so that they can try and assist as much as they can. So at the very least 5 minutes before the time, preferably actually 10 minutes. That will make it easier should you experience any problems. And be participative. Listen, respond, raise your hands. I think by now everybody is familiar with the raising hand button that you should please just activate should you wish to make a comment. Your presenters will guide you in terms of how they would approach each of their presentations, whether they will ask that you wait with your questions until the very end. I think they will also ask you and encourage you to use the message button, the discussion button, where you could click on that and make comments as we proceed during the responses. But please engage your presenters on that, and they will give you guidance as to how they wish to approach that. And colleagues, I think Jeanette will take you through alternative ways just to make communications easier, the setting up of a WhatsApp group, but Jeanette will talk to you about that. But the purpose thereof is to allow you to engage amongst yourself if there are any late minute changes to the program, or even in the election of your class representative. So we can use that as well. As you've by now noted, unfortunately, Turku is experiencing a bit of a challenge after the weekend's upgrading of our ICT equipment. So the emails are not working. I hope by now they are working, but this morning it was not working that effectively, but ICT promised us that they're working as quickly as they can. So please check your emails if there are any additional information, but alternatively, this platform, the MS Teams, will be used to convey those type of messages as well. And colleagues, as I've said already, the success of the program really depends on your participation and your contribution. And we really want, through this program, as DDG Moniela has already indicated, make a difference to the continent. It's our continent. We need to take care of it, and we can only do it if we collectively decide to make a difference. And your participation here today speaks to that willingness to make a difference. And I would like to encourage you to share your experience with us. I know there might be for some a bit of a challenge in terms of connectivity, but also with language. So please be patient. Please respect one another's views, and that ultimately, and this is the concluding part of my message to you this morning, is to strengthen the notions that was made already, and that you are all influencers. You're all influencers where you are sitting, whether you are head of your organization, whether you are in a critical role that you are playing where you are. But the seeds of change are in your hands. And I hope that this program will assist you in contributing and nourishing those seeds of change to make a difference and be a difference and help us to make a better life for all of us. May I wish you from this directorate's diplomatic training side every success and bon courage, and enjoy it as much as you can. Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you, Mr. Oosthuizen, Andries. We appreciate your words, and we know that you'll also be in and out of the meeting as we go on through the next 2 weeks. My name isn't specifically mentioned there, but I'm the house rules person. I'm the sheepdog. And before we go on to Anthea's session, where she will do an ice-breaking session and get everybody to introduce themselves, can I just go through a few house rules? Those of you who've worked on Zoom and on MS Teams, please remember to put off your microphones if you aren't actually speaking at that moment. It just makes it so much easier. There's no sound interference. And for bandwidth reasons, we don't have active cameras mostly, except sometimes for the presenters or for short introductions. And of the reason for holding this course has been covered, and Mr. Oosthuizen has covered the program in detail. As you go through the program, you will see that there are comfort breaks mentioned, our very colorful program. Those colors are to help you to navigate it. And so we will have comfort breaks and lunch breaks. We start at the same time every morning, but we will not have the breaks, the lunch breaks, or the ending times are different on every day. So every day is different. It's slightly different in its setup. Some days might resemble the others. Ronton's 3 days will be similar, and so on. But just check your program to make sure, because they shift around. The lunch breaks are different lengths. This was all for us to fit in our program. And sorry, I'm just admitting our FemWise lady from Eswatini, who did join earlier but has a problem. And I see also on the chat that Ms. Bengu has said that the Wi-Fi in the building is not working, and she will connect as soon as she's sorted out. So you will also see that's also very important, as Andries said, that please use the chat also to communicate. My telephone at the moment is on because of the problems, but usually I keep my office telephone shut down, inactivated, so that I don't have any interruptions, unexpected interruptions. So we would expect also, please put your phones on silent. I don't usually share my private cell phone number because it is private. I don't use it for work purposes. In an emergency, it can be shared if you can. I'm not going to give it to you now, but it is available for emergency purposes. But otherwise, we use email. We communicate on the chat. That's for asking questions, for indicating problems, and letting us know whether you, if you can attend. Maybe if there's one day where you cannot attend, you can also email me. You all have our email addresses. You would have received that together with the program documents. Please make sure that you are here every day. Participants who are not here for at least 8 out of the 10 days will not get certificates of attendance at the end. And that is what the people under Chililo's section, the quality assurance section, they check all that. And that's also the reason why we asked for your passports or ID documents. That is so that we can check your names and have your names correctly on the final certificates. If you wish your name to be reflected in a particular way that is different from on your passport or your ID document, please send us an email so that we have it in writing. What is the correct format that you want us to show your name on your final certificate? The attendance registers, you've already seen. I've shared it several times during the morning session. I will share it again during the day. As people come in and out, sometimes they cannot always see it. And so the attendance register is there. Click on the link or copy the link into your browser. We will have, just like the meeting links are different links for every day. There's a link for day 1 to get into the meeting, a different link tomorrow morning for day 2. The same with the attendance registers. We have separate links every day for new attendance registers. And as Andries mentioned, for the Klingendal segment, you will come in the morning early, you will fill in our attendance register, and then you will click on the additional link to go to Klingendal, and you will fill in their attendance register as well. At the end of each module, you will see that the program is organized into modules. And at the end of some days, not every day, there's a yellow line that says you will complete the evaluation feedback form. And that is a link that I will also share this afternoon after lunch. I will share it as soon as it comes active. I will share that link also in the chat. And we cannot force you to complete that. That is voluntary and it is anonymous. But we want to urge as many people as possible, as many participants as possible to complete the feedback form, because it is on that form that you can give us suggestions and tell us if this is working. If you are learning something, if you think that there's something we could do better. That is also part of our quality assurance process. Sorry, I'm just going through my list, questions and answers. As Andri said, please participate, please be an active participant. If you have something to share, if you have comments to make, if you have questions for clarification, if there's something you don't understand. Some of our presenters will give a formal presentation, and we will share that on the screen. Sometimes I will share it and then I cannot see the hands raised. There, Anthea or Lillian will help. And otherwise, sometimes some of the presenters prefer to share their own presentation. So it differs from session to session. And then there will be opportunities for questions and discussions. Andries mentioned the WhatsApp group. We encourage you. We don't create a WhatsApp group for you. That is part of trying to catch up the deficit of not being face-to-face and not having evenings in the hotel where you can get to know each other, is that we would like a volunteer from the group to set up a WhatsApp group. So if somebody is practiced in doing that, please put your hand up and let us know if you will be willing to manage it and run it for the group where everybody, this is also voluntary, but we would like you to be able to network among yourselves. I myself am not on WhatsApp, so I can't be a member of it, but Lillian or anybody else, any of our colleagues might also join you on that group. And part of the purpose of the WhatsApp group is for you to be able to communicate among yourselves. We'll give you a day or two, but by Thursday, we'd like a name from you, a nomination, a person who will represent the class, who will speak on behalf of the class during the closing session, and if necessary, assist with coordination. I think that pretty much covers all that I need to say. And please contact me. As I said, I am your sheepdog. I am your coordinator. And if I am not available, then Anthea, as I said, please address us by our first names because we have the same surname. Anthea, myself, Jeanette, or Lillian Motiba are here to help support you and to bring you through the program. So if there's anything I've forgotten, if I think of anything, I will come up at a later stage and mention it again. I've got a little list that I go through, but don't always remember everything. And so I'm going to hand over to Anthea now, who will manage the interactions active session. Just before we go on, I'd like to tell Anthea that we don't have all our international African participants yet, but they are coming in, and I'd like to welcome Ms. Kolani from Eswatini. You joined us during the introduction, and there was somebody else, Ms. Jane Mhando from Tanzania. She's based at the High Commission here in Pretoria, so not too far away. Also joined us, and I'd like to welcome you to the session. We welcomed almost everybody else as we were trying to get connected earlier on. But Anthea will now give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves. Over to you, Anthea.
Thank you, Jeanette. Good morning, ladies. Welcome once again to this very important 2 weeks of capacity building on conflict, mediation and negotiation. It is for us at DIRCO an enormous privilege to be part of this program in cooperation with the Norwegian Embassy as well as the University of Pretoria. My task this morning as being part of the team of administrators and moderators is to make sure that you are introduced to each other. First of all, I would like to say and stress, as Ambrice, as our other senior colleagues, our DDG, acting DG, as well as other participants have stressed, this is an interactive, although virtual, program. And therefore, it is important that we really speak to each other and use this opportunity, this floor of learning a little bit more, self-enrich ourselves in the process of conflict, negotiation, and mediation. We will be using Chatham House rules. That means that what is said in the different sessions, including this one that we are now going to have, is really between us. And you are free to express your opinions at all times. It will not be held against you. Ladies and gentlemen, I see Ambrice is still online, so I have to include him. We then start. I would like to ask you to introduce yourselves. I'll start with myself. I'm a diplomat of nearly 43 years, attached to Turku, previously in the Department of Foreign Affairs. I've served abroad in 6 different countries, and I'm at the end of my career. At the end of April, I will be retiring. In these 43 years, I've learned that conflict comes from home. It comes from mission interaction, workplace interaction, and it comes from the country that you may perhaps be situated in. So it's part of life, and we need to be able to navigate through these small obstacles thrown on our paths and help each other to be able to deal with them better. And this platform, therefore, for the next 2 weeks, I am convinced will definitely help all of us, even if I'm retired. I'm therefore then going to ask, starting with the name list that we circulated to all of you of the participants. Jeanette has already introduced herself as coordinator and moderator. I would like Lillian to come in, who's the third party of this troika steering these 2 weeks, to quickly introduce herself, and then we will go on to the participants from everywhere, South Africa, SADC, and further afield on the continent. Lillian, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Althea. Good morning, everyone. Well, I would like to warmly welcome you to our training. My name is Lillian Mutiba. I'll be part of the team. My main role will be administrating and moderating. It is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome again to everyone, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the course. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. Shall we then start with SADC in our group? We have from Tanzania, as Jeanette said, based here in Pretoria, is Ms. Jane Mahando. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, morning everybody. My name is Jane Mhando. I'm an immigration attaché at Tanzania High Commissioners dealing with consular issues. I'm very happy to be one of the participants of this training. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our second person is from Zambia, Ms. Lungu. Lungu, can you please introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Priscilla Mkatelungu, and I'm a second secretary at Foreign Affairs here in Zambia under the Department of Political Thank you.
Thank you very much and enjoy.
On our list, Ms. Placida Chivandire from Zimbabwe has not yet signed in. The next one on the list is Ms. Simelane.
Thank you, Jeanette. Ms. Nofanello Similane, can you join us, please?
I'm not sure if she's with us. I just want to check because she came in and out several times. I think she might have had connection problems. On my list, at the moment, she's not on the list either. And then Ms. Suafara from Madagascar is not connected yet. Ms. Julie from Seychelles has, let me just check again. She came in. Oh, her address says TV Julie. That shows she's at the bottom of the list. She is with us. She can go ahead.
Thank you, Jeanette. Ms. Vivian, Julie, can you please, or Teresa, I see it's a T that you're using as your initial. Please welcome, join us with pleasure.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Teresa Julie from the Seychelles, and by profession I am a teacher, but today I am representing my NGO, Survival Arc Foundation, which involves working with children. Thank you.
Thank you. It sounds as if your foundation does interesting work. We'll learn a bit more about that during the course of the next 2 weeks. Sorry, I cut myself. I do apologize. Ms. Jane Ndurumo from Kenya, from Nairobi, can you come in, please?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jane Ndurumo from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kenya. I'm a deputy director and I work at the Peace and Security Directorate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us from the eastern side of our continent. Then we have, the next person is from Algeria. Madam Yamina Bengua, are you on?
Not.
Line?
No, unfortunately, doesn't seem that we have connected. We've had problems last week already, and we have not connected with her yet. So the next on the list is Miss Amuda.
Miss Amuda from Nigeria, you were one of the very first this morning that could sign in. Welcome. Can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. My name is Amuda Oluwakemi. I work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria. I'm a minister counselor, and then I work in the Department for Training and Staff Welfare. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we have Ms. Sophie Sukutunkara from Mali.
Not with us yet, as she acknowledged her documents, but has not connected yet. And then if you go down the lists, the next two also have not connected yet. We do have from FemWise, Ms. Latwako from Eswatini, and the last one in green, Ms. Mumanya.
Thank you very much, Jeanette, for this guidance. Can we then welcome Ms. Kolani Latwako to join us, please, from Eswatini?
Good morning, everyone. As I've been introduced, I'm Kolani Latwako. I'm the Africa Regional Coordinator of a campaign called 1 Billion Rising. I coordinate in the campaign in Africa, including Eswatini. Currently in Africa, we are in 21 countries 1 Billion Rising, just briefly, it's a global campaign that is aimed at ending violence against women and girls. So I'm pleased to be part of this session. I'm also a member of FemWise.
Thank you very much. I'm very much aware of this 1 Million Rising program that has been working all across the continent, also here in South Africa, really helping in the upliftment of women and children, especially as a private initiative. So welcome on board, and we're looking forward to hear from you exactly what this program is achieving. It will be most interesting.
Anthea, we lost you.
Sorry, technicalities are not this morning my strongest point. The next person is from the DRC, I assume from Kinshasa, Ms. Rosine Baseka Mumanya. Welcome, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosine from the DRC. It's actually from Goma and not Kinshasa, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm currently doing some research work in Kenya, but I've worked with community conflict resolution organizations that deal with SGBV victims. I'm happy to be a part of this training.
Thank you very much. I'm sure there will be a strong connection between you and our colleagues from the University of Pretoria, especially from an academic perspective. Thank you for your time. Then we go into our South African participants, and we are very honored to have a group of people who are joining us from our own motherland. We have first Ms. Bukelwa Paul from the Department of Justice or Ministry of Justice. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Morning, everyone. Bukelwa Paul from the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor. We mainly work with international agreements, and when necessary, we assist our clients with the negotiation of their contracts. So I hope this program will assist me.
Thank you very much. Once again, welcome. Then we have a very important lady in Turku, Hlengiwe Bengu, who looks after inter alia finances of the department.
And is unfortunately not connected right now.
Okay.
Sorry. She said she was in earlier, but she sent a message on the chat to say that she'll try and connect with us later. So when she gets back in, I will let you know.
Thank you.
Also just Ms. Moyo in Geneva is not connected yet, so we're sure she's very busy there at the Human Rights Commission right now.
Thank you very much. Then we have Ms. Joan Bupape, who's also part of the legal advisors team of Turku. Ms. Bupape, can you please take the floor?
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Taboho Bupape. I'm here in DECO, and I'm in the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor. I'm an information specialist. I feel good to be here, hoping to learn a lot and get a good informative sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another Turku colleague is Ms. Harshana Gulab. If you could join us, please, Ms. Gulab.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Harshana Gulab. I'm currently with the Nuclear Disarmament and Non-Proliferation section here at the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. And I previously served on our UN Security Council team in New York, and this program is interesting for me to see how this practical mediation and negotiation process works in relation to our other work. So thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you, and I'm certain that those New York experiences will bring a lot of interesting sharing of information. The next person is then Ms. Shangi Butana, also from Turku. I don't know whether you signed in. We'd love to hear from you. Thank
you. Good morning, colleagues. Thank you so very much. My name is Sicelimpilo Shangi Butane. I'm the director responsible for humanitarian affairs at Turku. So I work on issues of international humanitarian law, which is the law of armed conflict, humanitarian assistance, displacement, refugees, migration. So I really am looking forward towards learning these 2 weeks and also exchanging experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Being a humanitarian in Turku, I'm sure that you have many stories that you can share. Not in terms only of conflict, but also in terms of what we do to help ourselves in South Africa as well as across the continent. Thank you. Then we have Ms. Dorcas Shlongwane, also from Turku. The floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon. Good morning. My name is Dorcas Shlongwane. I just came back from a deployment in West Africa, in Cote d'Ivoire, and I'm currently based in the Directorate West Africa. And with what is happening currently in West Africa, I'm thinking this course will be of value for me in understanding conflict and mediation. Thank you.
Okay, Ms.
Will always be a very interesting part. And we're looking forward to what you can share with us along with our other participants once they've connected from Mali and the DRC. Then we have Ms. Evangelina Benham, also from
I don't think she's connected yet. I haven't seen her connection, so I think I remember seeing her receiving the documents, but she's not connected. So that is everybody. Anthea, if you will allow me, I just realized because I'm looking through the list, I noticed that we have Mr. Tapelo Moeng on the, you might have noticed him there as TM. He's the second TM. Is that he and Mr. Mulautsi said they're two TMs. They're both from the radio and broadcasting section of our public diplomacy wing or division, and they will be assisting us. They might be contacting you, and that's what I would like to announce to the participants is that, and also this morning during the opening session, distracting me, I had our colleague Jackie, the photographer, taking photographs. The best that we can do is to take photographs of people on the screen, and that they will be sharing also in our in-house publications. We have a Twitter feed, we also have online and so on, Facebook. So, and we would like to invite all the participants, if they could, if they would be interested, they could provide us a paragraph or two about their work, which we will compile together and do an article on the program in our in-house publications, and they might even contact you for an interview, but that would be individually between you, and if you are interested, let us know and we will provide them your email address or other contact details. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is, last but definitely not the least, one of our colleagues that works on our MSU program, part of the diplomatic training world. Titi Nkumalu, that is also on the platform. Titi, would you like to join us with a few words?
Thank you very much, Anthea. Colleagues, good morning and a very good welcome to all our participants. My name is Titi Ngumalo. I'm the Director, Mediation Support Unit. I hope that you are going to enjoy this course and gain some information and experience that you will go back and use in your different countries and workplace. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much. We've now been able to see some faces and to hear voices. I notice that there is a request from Ms. Tlakwaku to say a few words on the work that she's doing. We have time before we have our comfort break. Please go ahead, ma'am. The floor is yours. Tlakwaku, the floor is yours. Seems there's been a loss of communication.
Yeah, she's dropped off the list. I'm just checking the list. Oh no, she is there. She is still on the list and indicated on the screen. So Kolani, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. It's just my network, it keeps going off. I was saying I'm interested to share, because you said if we are interested to share our like a paragraph on our work, I'm interested to do that. If you can share with me.
So you meant for public diplomacy for our colleagues the publication. Okay, no, we will let them know, and I've noted that. And but if you, as Anthea said, we do have time now before our formal comfort break. So if you'd like to chat a little bit about that, we'd be interested to listen.
The floor is yours.
Okay, right now. Oh, great. I just wanted to talk briefly about the campaign and the work that we have been doing in Eswatini. I want to specifically dwell on the part of Eswatini. Eswatini, as we know, that we are currently facing some political crisis, and as part of 1 Billion Rising is to build agency and mobilize women to position themselves so that they can be able to make meaningful contribution towards the proposed dialogue. So, and one of the key areas that we have highlighted and realized is very important to focus on is to capacitate women leaders or women generally on conflict resolution and peace building, as well as negotiation processes. So that's one aspect, and we are not looking at only focusing at women who are at leadership level, at national level, but also at community level. So as part of the campaign, what we do is to build solidarity from different women's movement, and also working with different organizations as well as government departments in building agency on ending violence against women and girls. And what we have realized is that in all crises that are happening, whether it's violence that is happening at family level, at community level, the people who are most affected are women, whether it's conflict over land that we see in Eswatini, but we see women being the most affected. So part of our work that we do is through an initiative called Journey of Hope for Women and Girls, is to establish structures within communities that we call them gender-based violence community circles, where communities come up with strategies to combat gender-based violence. And within those strategies, we then come up with topics which include conflict resolution, peace building, negotiation skills at community level, where we want to ensure that we are all in the same page in terms of understanding and also engaging on these different issues that end up affecting women. I think briefly I can say that there is more that I will share on the brief paragraph that I will share, but also another part that I can include is that it's an issue of lobbying and advocacy for law reform, which is also another strong component where we want women to have confidence and also challenge this, as we know that in Eswatini, most of the people in parliament is dominated by men, and women's voice is always suppressed. So it's part of lobbying and engaging the men that are already there, and also preparing women to say, if the next election in 2023 is coming, how do we ensure that we have women that are also part of the decision making in terms of being in parliament.
Thank you for a most interesting introduction to the work that you are doing. We are really in full support for what is done for the upliftment of women in Eswatini. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anyone else? We have a little bit of time still. Is there anyone else who would like to take the floor before we close this session for our break? Dorcas, the floor is yours.
No, mine is a different one. I wanted to volunteer for the WhatsApp group, for creating the WhatsApp group, but I would wish to be advised on how do I get the contact details of everyone. Thank you.
Jeanette, if you can lead there, please. Thank you.
Apologies, I was just communicating with public diplomacy. But basically what we will do is, Dorcas, if you volunteer, we will send you the contact details. We have telephone numbers, or if you can give us a number, your WhatsApp number, then we can put it on the in the chat, and then people can contact you directly. So, or we can provide you the telephone and email numbers, and you can contact them. But perhaps it would be simpler if we put your WhatsApp number on the, or if you have a tag name, we put that on the chat, and then everybody who would like to connect to the WhatsApp group can contact you. And also, thank you very much for volunteering. We appreciate that. Okay, so if you would provide, do you have a, because we do have your number here on our list. If you have a different, number that you use for WhatsApp, or if you would prefer not to use the email address that you gave us, then please share it on the chat line, and I will repeat it again later.
Ladies and gentlemen, then from a practical point of view, two WhatsApp numbers that may be useful to you is Lillian's number 072 202 2208. We will post that as well in the messages. And then my own 082 770 95 664. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we then come to the conclusion of this session. It gives us a little time to stretch and to feel a bit more comfortable before we start with the presentation of Dr. Filani Mtembu. That will start sharp at 11:05. Whilst we were sitting talking, I have already circulated his presentation for this morning to you on your email addresses. So please look into your mailboxes. I note some people have already acknowledged receipt or opened the message. That means Dirko is online, which we are delighted about. And then we're looking forward to what Dr. Mtembu will be sharing with us. 11:05. Jeanette, you would like to say anything before we sign out?
Thank you. No, just to emphasize again, 11:05 is the time, and we will see you back then. I will have to check with Pilani when he connects if he wants me to run the presentation, but we'll sort that out once he's in the meeting. Thank you. We can go and stretch now.
Thank you very much. See you in a few minutes. Thank you. Bye-bye.